A very warm welcome to you. CNN-IBN's Indian of the Year Awards are back for the year 2013. This is our special show building up to decide who will be CNN-IBN's Indian of the Year 2013. And tonight we bring you nominees in the category of business. Let's take a look at them. 2013 has been one of the toughest years for corporate India. Despite a tough macroeconomic environment, our 6 nominees have surged ahead with their remarkable vision, leadership and integrity. Rahul Bhatia and Aditya Ghosh of Indigo for competing against itself in chasing growth and being the Roger Federer of Indian civil aviation. For consistency in on-time performance. India's only profitable airline, Indigo, is one of the world's fastest growing airlines. Anand Mahindra for growing his group tenfold in the last decade. This year, despite the adverse conditions, the company has been one of the biggest wealth creators in the Indian markets. Chandrasekaran of Dcs for driving strong performance. Under his leadership, TCS has grown into one of the most valued companies. He balances aggression and conservatism, making him one of the most admired business leaders. Nitin Paranjpe of Hindustan Lever today is the global president of home care at the Anglo-Dutch multinational corporation. Under him, the company has broadened its market to cater to every Indian, from the middle class to the aspiring, and now the affluent Indian wanting to use global brands. 3 out of 4 Indians consume an HUL product. Pawan Munjal steered Hero Motors through a split with partner Honda after 26 years. Hero Motor managed to hold on to its leadership position despite intense competition with record volumes even in a difficult year. Rajiv Bajaj has turned Bajaj Auto into one of the world's most profitable auto companies with margins of up to 20%. Their export strategy has worked very well and has been a key differentiator in a tough year. Bajaj has also been instrumental in inking partnerships with European bike major KTM and Japan's Kawasaki. So what does it take to be CNN-IBN's Indian of the Year? We're going to discuss that with our guest, Sumant Sinha, founder, chairman, CEO of Renew Power Ventures Private Limited. Also joining us from Mumbai, Meera Sanyal, chairperson, RBS India Services and Foundation, and of course, Paranjay Thakur, the senior journalist here, joining us with me in the studio. We'll start with the nominees right away, Aditya Ghosh and Rahul Bhatia. Well, they've stood out. If I can look at the numbers, it has been stellar. They are talking about a 5-fold increase in profit at 787 crores. And this at a time when the closest rivals, Jet Airways and SpiceJet, have actually lost 671 crores together. Paranjay, how do you see Team Indigo, Rahul Bhatia and Aditya Ghosh? They've come together and brought some serious changes in the aviation scenario.
Truly amazing, their performance, undoubtedly. Here you have Kingfisher virtually shutting down. Mr. Vijay Mallya is one of the biggest. I mean, if you look at banks' non-performing assets, his company is leading the way. His assets are going to be attached. When you look at Air India, a variety of reasons, including government neglect and apathy, bleeding. But you also have the private players not doing well at all, whether it be Jet or Spice. In this kind of intensely competitive environment, here you have players who not only really have epitomized efficiency and profitability in an extremely competitive industry in terms of punctuality. I mean, as a low-cost carrier, it's truly amazing how well Indigo has performed. And you would think that because everybody else is doing so badly, there's something wrong with the market, with the environment.
Right.
But Indigo just has shown that, you know, if you have the right kind of attitude towards providing service to your customers in terms of punctuality, in terms of efficiency, you can do very, very well.
Certainly so. Mr. Sumant Sinha, if I can bring you in, you know, critics of Indigo say that it's a privately held company still, so you wouldn't get a clear picture.
No, of course that is true. One has to rely upon what is reported in terms of their profitability. But I think, you know, beyond profitability, I think you have to look at the product that they've created. And, you know, the fact of the matter is Indigo has done well, they've grown rapidly, and in terms of customer service, it's a phenomenal company. You know, you get very predictable, very consistent, uniform service. You know, if you want to catch a flight and be on time, Indigo is the plane that you take. So I think they've created a very strong USP for themselves and given customers a service that is predictable and that they can rely upon. And that is why people ultimately end up flying Indigo. And of course, they are not the most expensive airline as well in the world, so that obviously helps as well. So I think given all of those factors, I think it goes a little bit beyond numbers in terms of the product that the founders of Indigo have been able to create. And that is something that one must salute them for.
And certainly, so if you just go by, you know, the technical stats, there's something called the technical dispatch reliability, 99.4%. It's supposed to be one of the most reliable and the best in the world. So that is the word on Indigo. Let's talk about our other nominee, Anand Mahindra. He stood the test of time. He's grown his company aggressively. You know, he's ventured into sectors where few have, like aviation, technology. Mira Sanyal, we were speaking about Anand Mahindra. Now, when you look at the man who has grown his company nearly five-fold, how do you place him?
So Anand really comes across as someone with strategic vision. He's taken his company to a completely new level, and he has ventured into areas where others have feared to go. I think the takeover of Satyam was a very bold move, and it was a very good move at the time, and I'm not sure a lot of people would have done what he did and also turned the company around as successfully by giving management a free hand to do what was right. But I would also like to say that Anand stands out for a couple of other reasons. I mean, the Scorpio story is legendary, but he does come across as someone with a wider strategic vision. So when you talk of philanthropy, he has supported Nandi, he has supported Nanhi Kali, which are all very, you know, from the heart, good things to do. But he has also gone further and supported things like the think tank, the foreign policy body called Gateway House in India, where he's one of the few industrialists who's thinking about geopolitics, geostrategy. And in that, I think he stands out above his peers.
Right. And let's also talk about our other nominee, N. Chandrasekaran of the TCS. He's turned his company into one of world's most valuable IT services company. Mr. Sinha, truly, he is one leader who deserves recognition at this point. So it's a difficult choice.
No, I agree with you. I think Chandrasekhar has been extremely good for TCS. He's sort of been there for a very long time. He's responsible for where the company is today, along with, of course, the other legends of the IT industry, Mr. Ramadurai. But certainly, Chandra has provided the continuity that a large organization like TCS is required. And you know, when you look at what TCS has been able to do, it's actually phenomenal because, you know, while you have had, you know, a lot of noise and positive stories about Infosys, and Wipro and their position in the IT industry, TCS has gone about quietly building an extremely strong, credible company. And you know, I heard in the beginning when you're talking about it, you said it's one of the most valued companies in India. That's not entirely true. TCS is today the most valued company in India. Its market cap is more or less is almost $65 billion.
Right.
Earlier it was competing with Reliance for the #1 spot. Today it's almost 1.5 times the market cap of Reliance. So it's by far and away India's most valuable company at this point in time. And clearly a large share of the credit must devolve to Chandra, who's been there for such a long time.
And the world's second most valuable IT services company, that too in 2013. We'll continue to discuss our nominees. Going to a short break, we'll be back with our other 3 nominees for Indian of the Year in Business. Stay with us. Welcome back to this special show in the build-up to announcing the CNN-IBN Indian of the Year 2013. Tonight we are discussing the nominees for the Indian of the Year in the business category. Let's get right away and talk about Nitin Paranjpe. He's today the president of the home care business of Unilever globally. Paranjpe, you would agree that he's one of the Indian success stories to rise in an MNC head
one of the
global
largest
position.
multinational corporation in the world. What they say about the Unilever is that they control the levers of the universe. Yes, sure. I mean, undoubtedly the biggest fast-moving consumer goods company of its kind on the planet. I only have one grouse. The largest selling cosmetic product they sell, I believe it's called Fair and Ugly Cream, and I think they also have one for men.
Okay.
That's my only grouse with HUL. But I want to make just 2 quick comments on Mr. Anand Mahindra. You see, over and above the fact that his diversification into information technology, his philanthropic activities, and his, I think in his core area of business of vehicles, he's done very well, almost epitomizing the fact that the Indian auto sector has kind of come of age internationally. And Mahindra, to a great extent, epitomizes that. And on TCS, I think, yes, undoubtedly it's India's most valuable company in terms of market cap, and it's been certainly assisted by the weakening of the rupee, but it's also operated in an increasingly hostile environment in view of the global financial crisis, the Great Recession, which has resulted in the rise of protectionism in the West and particularly in the United States. And you see that in the form of all the restrictions on visas and so on and so forth.
Right.
So the fact that it's done well despite this, the overall global environment speaks a lot for the leadership of TCS.
Right. Meera Sanyal, you want to have a quick word on Nitin Paranjpe?
Sure. So I think, the Unilever story is well known, as is the HUL story. But what I particularly like about the way, Nitin went about his job was that he focused on other things. So for example, Unilever and Nitin himself was quite passionate about the Millennium Development Goals. And they started putting a lot of focus on things like water. So how do you conserve water? And introducing products, for example, detergents which would use less water, the water purifier. I mean, I've been at meetings where Nitin has spoken very passionately about the environment and about CSR, but how that can be done through the corporation.
Right.
So he turned this around in a different way and said, I'm not doing something which is charitable, I'm doing something which is right, and by doing right, I'm benefiting my company, my stakeholders, and also the community. And I think that is a very interesting idea of CSR, which more people should adopt. So I think Nitin took a leadership position in that, and that's something I admire him for. But I would also like to come back to Chandra. Picking up on what Sumant and Paranjoy have said, I think Chandra is a person with both great vision and great humility. And he has been a very good ambassador for India. I mean, something like setting up an all-woman development center in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. It has never been done. And I can certainly tell you that he has won friends and influenced women across the world by doing something like that.
Okay.
I think he's also been a very good ambassador for how technology can be used to improve governance in governments. What TCS has done with the passport scheme in India, and also what they are doing to help state governments across the country to automate processes, to simplify processes, to make it easier to set up business. These have very, very far-reaching consequences.
Certainly.
And I think this is thanks to the leadership of Chandra.
Certainly so. Very quickly, we'll move on to our other nominee because we are running out of time. Pawan Munjal certainly has done well. The split with Honda, even after that, the way that he's carried his company on, certainly making it valuable for all the shareholders of the company. New launches, next generation technology. Mr. Sumant Sinha, what do you think, where does he stand today as one of the top business leaders?
I think he stands at a fairly high level, Karma. I think that the Munjal family did a fairly, took a very bold step in terms of separating from the Honda group and going off on their own. They took the help of private equity partners to buy out the Honda stake, which was in itself quite commendable. After that, they've gone ahead and set up their own R&D centers. They have tied up with Kawasaki, as you said. They've clearly made it known that they want to continue to be the leading player in India. They are moving in that direction with new product launches. And they've also talked about getting into the export markets in a very big way. So I think there is the opportunity here of really creating a global two-wheeler brand out of India with a very strong and dominant position in its home market and exporting a large share of its manufacturing.
Right.
And I think to that extent the Hero Group is well on its way, and Mr. Munjal obviously provides the leadership in that respect. And full marks to them for having got this far.
Certainly, we'll have to see if he wins. Staying with the auto sector, we're running out of time. Rajiv Bajaj, young, he's done things differently. Meera Sanyal, he in fact shut down the scooter division, which his father has started and which was one of the largest in India during the 1980s and the 90s. It was a bold step, but he's doing things differently and turning Bajaj Auto into a global brand.
Absolutely, yes. A very, very far cry from, his father's view in terms of the Bombay Club and protectionism. Here is a young Indian who has really proven that brand India is as good as the best, and it's really a success story for someone who's relatively low profile on a personal basis. I think he's done an excellent job with Bajaj.
Right, with that we come to the end of the show. I know we could have done more justice, we could have discussed all the nominees much more, it would have taken more time. With that, I would like to thank all our guests. That's all we have on this nominee special in the category of business. The grand finale, remember, will take place on the 20th of December, where we will announce the winners in the various categories. Tomorrow we'll bring you the nominees in the category of entertainment. Till then, thanks for watching.